Geoff Menzies is the project coordinator for the Drayton Harbor Community Oyster Farm. Geoff is committed to restoring oyster and other marine life populations throughout Puget Sound. Geoff, thank you for being a guest on Northwest Notebook.
Thanks for having me.
Now, what I read is you've been at this a very long time. So where do we stand in restoring these populations?
Well, our focus has been primarily really shellfish restoration in Drayton Harbor.
Right.
And we have come a long way, really. The bay, Drayton Harbor has a long history of commercial oyster farming and shellfish harvesting, recreationally, tribally. I originally got involved in oyster farming in the bay in the early 90s. We were closed down in 1995 because of pollution problems. And since then, we went through a series of what are called downgrades due to bacteria levels that were too high to allow for shellfish farming, to really have oysters that are safe, oysters and clams that are safe for the public. From that point, we went to a portion of the bay was available to harvest, to most of the bay was then prohibited. We have now gotten to the point, largely through various efforts, to where a small part of the bay has been recovered, where it is safe to harvest shellfish as long as it doesn't rain too much.
Good luck, right?
Yeah, right. So we can't control the weather.
Now, why should the average person at home care? There's somebody sitting in their chair right now watching this interview going,
sure,
shellfish, what does it matter to me?
Right.
But it really does.
Well, it does. I mean, the industry has done the lion's share of the work to try to maintain clean marine waters. And a lot of people will say, well, I don't really like oysters, I don't like clams, it really doesn't matter. But really the fact that you have a viable shellfish industry in a place like Drayton Harbor means that it's the canary in the mine. It's one of the first things to go when you see environmental problems, water quality problems. So the industry, by its very nature, has to be involved in trying to maintain water quality. So even if you don't care about eating shellfish, the fact is we're on the front lines protecting water quality for the community.
And it's also important to the economy. The shellfish industry,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Millions of dollars, correct?
Oh, definitely. You look at it now, you look at the Puget Sound, and where the Chesapeake Bay used to be the workhorse, in terms of oyster production. Their production is way, way down, and the Puget Sound is just huge in terms of the dollars that are generated from shellfish production. And we have the added advantage of having cooler waters, so we have a healthier product. Generally, we don't have the threats that some other areas do that have warmer waters that can create additional health problems. So
when you said bacteria killed the shellfish population in Drayton Harbor, what bacteria in particular?
Didn't kill the shellfish. The shellfish are healthy.
Okay.
Fecal coliform bacteria,
okay,
waste from animals like us and horses, and
like seagulls,
cows and seagulls,
the
whole array, the whole suite of animals that are out there whose poop basically finds its way in streams and in the bay.
Stormwater?
Stormwater runoff, non-point pollution, okay? The things we're really struggling with in Drayton Harbor now are non-point pollution from livestock waste, animals getting in the streams, animals' waste getting in the streams, direct access to streams, septic systems that aren't maintained properly. Wildlife also plays a role, but so it's all of those. The State Department of Health classifies shellfish growing areas based upon the levels of fecal coliform bacteria. So it's used as an indicator of the health of that bay, and it's the combination of the water quality in the bay and then how we're living on the land, doing a shoreline survey to see how we live on the land that determines whether a bay is considered safe for the public. Because oysters and shellfish, they're filtering water. They're filtering, oysters will filter anywhere from 25 to 50 gallons of water a day. So if the water's not clean, they're not safe to eat.
Now, surely there are standards in place.
Clearly.
Are they being enforced?
Well, there are, you mean standards kind of on the ground?
Right,
It's pretty interesting when you get into it. We are regulated based on these bacteria levels in the bay. That determines whether you are in business or whether you're not in business. One of the biggest problems we have, so when the water quality, when the bacteria levels are too high, no bones about it. The State Department of Health classifies you, shuts you down, whatever. Where we have problems is we don't even have standards for fecal coliform bacteria in stormwater right now that outfalls into Drayton Harbor. So there is no standard that I can point to for the city of Blaine or for the county that they have to meet. There are freshwater standards, and we often exceed the freshwater standards in the two creeks that feed into the harbor, Dakota and California Creek. So there are standards there, but enforcing those we have to get to them through legislation that we have on the books in the county, but the problem is enforcement. A lot of times we don't enforce those at a level proactively enough to protect a resource like shellfish farming or harvesting in Drayton Harbor.
We've only got a minute left.
Yeah.
If I'm Joe Average at home and I think to myself, wow, you know, I really need to get involved. What are some ways that people can get involved?
Okay, well, no matter what watershed you live in, the most important thing you can do is if you have a small farm, if you have livestock, you know, call the conservation district, and they'll help you. They'll provide the technical assistance to help you manage your livestock so that their waste is not getting in the streams. That'll help anybody that's interested in shellfish and water quality downstream. If you live in the county, you have a septic system. Make sure that you know where your septic system is, that you maintain it on a regular basis, and then those are the two biggest things that we can do right now as residents, you know, on your property to help improve water quality.
Geoff Menzies, project coordinator for the Drayton Harbor Community Oyster Farm. Thanks for joining us on Northwest Snowplow.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.